Hey, junior Egyptologists, welcome back to Doodling with Purpose, the internet's only week-by-week lesson in learning Third and Second Kingdom hieroglyphics. It's fun, right? Welcome back. Are we enjoying ourselves? I hope so. All right, let's jump into last week's homework. Throw in a couple words from the first half of the class, the first 100 episodes, just to keep everyone on their toes. And the first thing we're going to do, like with any time we encounter hieroglyphics, besides admire them, is we're going to transliterate them, meaning write all of the sounds and the sound complement marks that go with those sounds. Once we've done this, we can then start translating the words. So word translation comes out to love, I, festival, his, perfect, enduring, which is not a sentence in English. Of course, we have to add articles and sort of turn it into English. And looking at the bottom, the first word on the left, the word for perfect there. So a reminder from the first half of the class, the sign nefer, which means beautiful, when you have three of them in a row with three stroke lines, it becomes its superlative of perfect. So one nefer is beautiful, three nefers is perfect. The whole idea of having comparatives and superlatives in the language, like good, better, best. So this will translate into English, I love his perfect, enduring festivals. Or, I love his non-stop partying, man. See how ancient Egypt and modern English can relate? Okay, let's move on to what we need after a night of partying, which is a good doctor. And in ancient Egyptian, we have Dr. Basket. I call it Dr. Basket because DR, or Jr, because it's DJ, hence the dash under the D gives it that J sound. The basket is pretty easy to make. Stroke down, across, back up at an angle, and then we'll making sort of like that shape at the bottom. Then we'll come across for stroke number 4. We'll add the circles of fruit. I tend to think of them as oranges, but they probably aren't. They're probably more like pomegranates or apples, but they are circles. So we'll do that as 6, 7, and 8, possibly 9. You can either be 3 or 4 circles, depending on how much size you have. I tend to usually always do 4. And then we have our little flourish, which is that loop there. You can see it broken out as strokes on the full right. It's the same type of flourish you would put on the sled for Tim, T-I-M. We'll get to that when we get to the trilateral signs, or as a review of those trilateral signs. So for now, we have our basket of fruit, DR, Jr. So here we have it in a word. So again, like with any word, any hieroglyphic we encounter, after admiring it for its beauty, we're going to transliterate it. So we have Jr, R, A. And remembering that the D with the dash is a J sound, DJ, like bijou in French. And the A is like palm. It's a deep in the back of the throat. You'll also see we have the repetition sound of the R, the echo, and we know what that means. We can eliminate it. We don't have to repeat the R. So this would be Jr, Jura, the end. All right, let's look at another glyph that we did in the first half. This is a glyph for a roadway. It can be pronounced Wa'at, W-A-T. That thing that looks like a 3 is the way you phonetically draw out the A. But it can also be a determinative. How do you know if it's a determinative? Well, if it's at the end of the word. So here we have Dr. Baskets, R the mouth, and W the chick. So this would be pronounced Jeru. But again, we have the double R sound, the first R at the end of the double bilateral sign in the beginning, Dr. Basket, Jr. And then we have R complementing the R that we've already had. So because it's an echo sound, it's just our hint to remind us that the glyph in the first part of the word, the first glyph, is a bilateral sound. Ain't Egyptian awesome? So this is the word for boundary, sort of how the previous word with the DR meant the end. So you'll find that many glyphs have similar words and similar meaning as far as vocabulary. All right, here's one with the Dr. Baskets, but we're going to go with a full sentence here, sort of a mini homework assignment in the middle. All right, let's transliterate it. Quick reminder that we're dealing with a preposition. What are prepositions? They're things that prepose where things are, like something is in, or on, or near. So here are the common hieroglyphic prepositions that prepose where a noun is, a noun being a thing, a person, or a place. So the owl can mean in, with, from, as. The water sign is towards a person, or for. The mouth sign, are, towards a place, or at. The papyrus with the water sign, in, is by. And chana is with. So looking at that, you'll recognize the first letter R is our preposition for towards a place. What place is that? Well, our next glyph is PR. You'll recognize that as the house, especially because we have the stroke line, making it a ideogram versus a hieroglyph whenever you have that stroke line. Then we got Dr. Baskets, then another R, a W, and the determinative. So since we have the R of towards, and then we have PR for a house, followed by the word boundary, this would translate to towards the house. Or, again, if we were going to go into modern English, towards the boundary of the home, or towards my house's boundary line or border line. So again, ancient Egyptian, English, you can kind of add in the articles needed. All right, our last bilateral D sound, another DJ, that's the dash under the D, making it DJ, followed by a W. So this is ju with a W. Ju, jua, jua, I guess would be the way to pronounce it. DJ, again, like bijou. So our DW followed by the chick for W, followed by the WR bird. Now this bird, whenever you see it as a determinative, if it's at the end of the sentence, tends to mean something small or bad. So it's a determinative that you see at the end of any word that is kind of in this type of category of vocabulary. So in the case of this word, jua is the word for evil, hence the determinative for bad or small at the end. Hieroglyph is just so full of clues to remind you what you're reading, whether pronunciation or definition. All right, so here we have a word with the ju letter combination in it. So DJ, W, followed by a papyrus, I. So this would be juai, juai, and then a person putting his hand out at the end, kind of like, hold it right there, mister, having a party. So this is the word to call upon. Specifically, do call upon a god, perhaps a god to step down and end that party your neighbor is having. So anytime, again, you have a person glyph at the end of a word, it is always a determinative. In fact, it's almost always a determinative because there's no letter sound for a person. For homework this week, we're a little different. So here are all of the sounds with their letters. I want you to write out what the sound is for all of these. So that way you could get really used to knowing the difference between D and DJ, H and H and K and S and Sh. There are very subtle but important changes, and it's absolutely important to know all of them. So write out the English word for all of those. That's your homework this week. I hope you liked this lesson and continue to enjoy the program. Please let me know if you have any questions. I will answer all of them in the comments. I really appreciate everyone being in class. I will see you again next week for more doodling with purpose.